Welcome back to Related Conversations with Melanie. Today, I am bringing in the ladies, and we are talking about intuition versus insecurity. Of course, we had to bring my girl Kat back because she is a fan favorite, and I love her. And for the first time, we're having my girl Lakita on here. So please buckle in. Before you do anything else, subscribe, push the little bell down there because we're trying to get 100 new followers in 2025. So please subscribe to our YouTube. And now let's get into it. Welcome, ladies. Thank you for joining today. I really appreciate you coming. Welcome, Keytah, for the first time, and welcome back, Kat. You know you're my girl. So we're talking about intuition versus insecurity. So we got to start with a question because that's my jam. Let's start easy. How much do you trust your intuition? Anybody?
If we're talking out of
I
100, it's got to be like 98. It's I I ain't doubt I'm gonna doubt another human being before I doubt myself. I'd rather be wrong and safe, wrong and it's okay, versus dang, I was right about that, but I regret not talking about it, acting on it, or whatever. So yeah, I'm just like, oh, it feels weird. Gotta go.
Mm.
it took me time to develop my intuition. Like I think I always had it, but I just always I did the opposite. So like in my gut would be telling me one thing and I'd be like going against it. And then as I got older, I realized, and this is like one of my favorite phrases, God speaks to your gut. So
Mhm.
anytime you have a certain feeling or intuition about something, that's God speaking to you. And
Mm.
so now I'm more apt to go with whatever my intuition is telling me than I was before. But it took me time to get to that point. Like it wasn't overnight.
I wonder if that has to do with like a confidence thing. Cause like I've always trusted my intuition, but I've never thought about it as trusting my intuition because like something spiritual is guiding me. I believe that's what it is. But in action, I've always thought about it as I know I'm right. I know this is something I feel comfortable with. Like and I'm really confident. So I feel like that's where it kind of draws from. So, like people take time to get comfortable with who they are and things and whatnot. So like you can't believe yourself because you
Yeah.
haven't learned to trust yourself.
hmm
I don't know.
I
Yeah.
don't want to take it too deep, but I actually saw like a post somewhere on social media at some point, and they were talking about like how parents need to be intentional about teaching their kids to trust themselves. Like if it feels weird, if it feels off, if that person feels wrong or weird or whatever, like I almost feel like it starts from there. If you have parents that are just like, shut up, be quiet, I don't want to listen, I don't want to hear it, you're bugging out, you're crazy, then maybe that leads to more adults battling with their gut versus whatever.
Oh,
To
absolutely.
what to what Keita said, that's a good point. And my mother always forced me to pay attention to that intuition. It was
Mhm.
me who was going against it. Like if my, I would know someone was like off, and I'd sense it, and yet I'd still go against it, knowing the person wasn't right.
Oh, not the red flags was fucking six flags. What the?
Exactly. Like it was just, and it
She
was
was
just
like,
me going against
wait.
it. Like.
Roller coaster. I'm going on that. Those Rickety tracks ain't got nothing to do with me. I'm gonna be good, even though I don't feel like I'm gonna be good. I'm gonna be good. You know, that's crazy. I mean, it's not crazy. It's just like for me, it's very foreign. You understand? Because it's like
Yeah.
and I think
When
I
I
think.
speak to people and
Mm-hmm.
they're like, oh no, I'm like, I don't, ooh, my brain is different.
You know what? I think people fall to a lot of where they ignore their intuition, even for like those of us who generally listen to it, is especially at a younger age, developmental ages, I should say, is like during peer pressure, right? You're going out with your friends and they want to go to this spot and you don't want to go, or they want you to drink or do some drug or something. That's not something you usually do, but a lot of people fall to peer pressure, and I think that we go against our intuition when we do that because of my natural inclination is to be like, nah, but now you done badgered me down so much, and it's like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. It's like maybe nothing bad
That's
happened.
a
But I
really
don't,
good example.
is that fair? Because I just thought of that, so this is a new thought
Yeah,
for
that's
me.
a really good example.
I mean, I think in some cases also certain things you go through in life lead you to doubt your intuition. Like, for me, certain choices I might have made led to me doubting my intuition after a certain amount of time. It was like, all right, I don't know how much I trust myself because I keep making certain choices and things keep going left. So it's like I started to doubt myself, which then led me to stop listening to my intuition. But I also realized that if I would have just listened to it originally, then maybe those decisions, I would have made a better decision at that point in time.
So, can I ask you, do you feel like your intuition, not just yours, but like intuition is, do you think is something that's like innate, or do you think that is something that comes from nurture and experience?
I think it's innate. I feel
Mm,
like it's innate. I feel like it's a matter of whether you tune into it or not.
mm.
Um, like certain things are just innate with us as humans. Like, but we have free will. So it's a matter of, okay, yes, I know that maybe I should do this, but I'm making a choice to do something different.
Mm, yeah. I think it's a combination of both. I think like she said, as human beings, it's definitely innate. Like we all maybe are born kind of with the ability to some degree, but then based on what you experience or what you go through, it might heighten it or kind of like stifle it. Like if you're always, I don't know, maybe if you're always in a safe space, then you don't really have to think that much about it versus like if you have to be hyper intuitive about certain things. But yeah, I think it's a good combo.
I can agree with that. I definitely agree with that. I think like everything, intuition is something that grows and matures with you. So the more I learn, the more I can rely on my intuition because we both know better. We have learned. We have that is called growth. You know what I mean? And it does go with you. So now I want to roll that into this question because I got to answer. Is evidence required to validate your intuition? Like for me, the answer is absolutely no.
Ooh.
Absolutely
No.
not. Because
Mm-mm.
and I'll give you an example. I'll tell you in when I was in one of my last big relationships, right? I knew this nigga was not being the nigga he was supposed to be to me. You know, he used to be
Mm.
the nigga, then he stopped being a nigga, whatever the case was. And I knew it.
Mm.
And I never searched for it. I didn't go through the phones. I wasn't asking questions. I just knew it. You know what I mean? And so when I found out, I didn't, I found him at someone's house, right? But I didn't go to the house. I went near the house. If I knew where the house was, I would have went. I don't want you to think that I'm saying I'm just so enlightened that I'm above it. I didn't have the information. I would have went. I knew the vicinity. So I was in the vicinity of it and I never saw him like come out with the girl or whatever the case is, but I know what you were doing. And to this day, I'm talking about 8:25 p.m. on April 23rd, right now.
Get
This I'm telling you, he denies this, right? But it's like I know that. And that's me trusting my intuition because we've grown up
Mm-hmm.
and now we have the experience to understand. Like, I don't need you to admit something. I can absolutely see line one and line two and understand everything that's in between it. You know what I mean? So, like, I don't need
Yeah.
evidence to validate it. Do you think that that's a normal thing? Or is it normal for you guys? Or do you need something to be
I
like,
think that's perfectly normal. In that instance, you know, if y'all been together for a while, you know patterns of behavior, you know the world as an, I'm assuming a young adult, or I don't know how old you were when it happened, but sometimes it don't gotta be two people holding hands. It don't gotta be the exact thing. You know, it's not a book. Like you're not reading from a script. It can be close to it, and you're like, I could put the puzzle pieces together.
mm,
Like, I don't need to see that exact act. I I'm good on that. And I think as you get older, you get better with not having evidence. Like you get okay with like if somebody's trying to sabotage you at work, is leaning towards Linda. Linda don't gotta walk up to you and be like, "Hey, I'm a hating ass," you know, like you know she's been doing things that lend to that. It's Linda, you know.
mm.
So I think as I get older, the I don't need the evidence. I don't always need the evidence. Like if it quack like a duck, if it look like a duck, I don't need to touch the feathers.
Right. It's not a fucking dog. It's a goddamn duck. It might be a black duck. It might be a green duck, but it is a duck. Okay. Hello. Like, so do you think for people who do require evidence, like, what do you think of them? Like, like,
Mm,
I mean, I think they're still working on developing that sense
Hmm.
of intuition. Because, like,
Hmm.
if your intuition is that strong, you don't necessarily need evidence. You just know. There's just certain things, like they say with mothers, when women are pregnant, they just know what the sex of their child is going to be. Like, nobody has to tell them, nobody has to give them proof. Eventually you get proof, but as a mother, you initially are like, I know I'm having a boy, or I know I'm having a girl.
Mm.
And people will look at you like you're crazy, but it's like the reality of it is you just know. Like, you don't need evidence to tell you what you already know.
Yeah.
I
I,
feel
I
like
kind of feel a little bit bad. It makes me wonder, like, what's sometimes I want to shake people, like, oh, just trust yourself. Like, you know what this is. You're gas, like, you're almost like you're trying to persuade yourself into something else and you're already there.
I agree with that. I think you guys are very nice in the way that you said it. I don't have the patience for it because it's like y'all not wrong, but y'all very kind, and I'm just like, in my mind, you're fucking stupid. Like, there's no way you see this shit.
I mean, I was being nice because
I
sometimes,
know,
the other thing too is sometimes these are your loved ones, these are your closest friends,
and
and
they
so
could be
you don't.
stupid.
So true, they can be stupid about certain situations, but it's like, most of the time, like your friends ain't just, super dumb. It's just like you're being dumb about this situation. So you try to
And
be a little
yeah,
kind.
like it's frustrating because it's like we all are reading this same book and we all seen what happened, but because you happen to be a bit closer to the antagonist in the book, you want to act like what we all saw happen doesn't hit the way it hits, didn't happen the way it happened, didn't mean what it mean. And it's just like, yeah, I'm your friend, I'm your cousin, I'm your sister, I'm your whatever. So I'm going to comfort you, but understand in my mind, I'm expending a patience on you because of who you are to me. Because I absolutely think in this moment you're fucking dumb. Like, I would want, and I know you would think the same thing about me in that situation. You're not wrong for that. It's not, it's how you treat me, I guess, that matters, but that's not going to stop the dumbness. Like, it's a stupid thing.
So does it make a difference? Because we've all been in situations where one person will see something one way, another person will see something differently. Is it a matter, would you say it's a matter of perspective or interpretation and how they interpret what's happening at that time?
I kind of would say yes, but I'm specifically speaking to like things that are
Like blatant.
89% undeniable. Like, we see this, and if this
Gotcha.
was somebody
Okay.
else, you would have a different opinion. But because it's you, you refuse to open your eyes and stop
Because
acting.
it's your situation.
That's what I
Yeah.
mean when I say that. And we all go there and we all be there. Like, I had a situation before where someone very close to me told me like, "Oh, I thought this when you was with this person, and like you never told me that." Like, I figured you knew. How did you figure I knew that something was being done badly to me? And I speak to you all the time. And you never said nothing. You know what I mean? So I know probably in her mind, she's like, this girl's just fucking dumb. But that was a matter of perspective. Like, the way that she saw that, I didn't. So I feel like that's something that wasn't as obvious. But then there are situations where it's just like, Kat, Marcus came out of the house number 3A at 2 a.m. Sherry lives in the building where house number 2A is. Marcus and Sherry were texting a month ago and you had an issue with it. What do you think he was doing? Oh, he probably just went to see his friend. I gotta throw my fucking hands up.
Like,
Like,
no, it like all the signs are there. You're just not getting
yeah.
it.
And it's like, and I feel like that goes beyond intuition. And that, let's lead into insecurity, because I think a mix up of the two can lead to the other. Like, you can have your intuition, and if you go
Yeah.
against your intuition, does that necessarily point to insecurity to you guys?
I mean,
Yes.
I guess because if we're saying that it helped, like confidence helps it, then maybe a lack of confidence, can make it worse. Yeah, insecurity just sounds it just got a little ting to it.
I definitely think it does because when I was less confident in who I was as a person was when I tended not to trust myself and to doubt myself and not go with my
Mm.
intuition. The more confidence I gained, the more I started to trust myself, the
Yeah,
more I started to follow what my intuition was. So I think they go hand in.
that's a good point.
Do you think that, like you just said, the word insecurity is just like, it does have that little bite to it, right?
It's just like I just
But like because of that, and because we are all women, let's speak specifically to who we are. Do most women realize when they're acting out of insecurity, or do we usually make excuses to disguise it because it's so unpalatable?
mm-mm.
I'm with
um,
excuses. I'm going with excuses.
It's got to be the second one. I'm just starting to really get into this phase of friendship where I can be like, "Hey, April, I really want you to look into like your level of self-love because I see you do XYZ." Like sometimes using that specific vocabulary can
Mhm.
be hard for people. Like, hey, Melanie, like I really feel like you're moving insecure. I don't necessarily think that a person is thinking that. Like they don't wake up like, dang, I let this girl, guy, or whoever do whatever to me. I'm so insecure. They might think pitiful, they might think desperate, but I don't think they really think insecure. So I don't even know if people are really coming face to face with that word.
I think more people should because a lot of things
They
are
should. No,
insecure.
they should. Sometimes you need to hear the word and think about it and the definition and how it might apply to you for you to really see perspective. That the comment about self-love was kind of funny, but I did have to have a conversation with a friend of mine about that. Just she's super sweet. You could tell that she grew up like really wanting a husband and a mate and to be a mom and have kids and all that other stuff. And I think like if those are your personal goals, cool. The way that she was maneuvering through romantic interests didn't really speak to that. It was, I'm okay dating a married man and they're not legally separated. He says she's crazy and I'm just going to off the bat believe it. And then it was dating somebody else who had a girlfriend and then maybe a single person, but they're not claiming you in public. And then it was another married person.
God damn.
And I didn't know until like the middle of the bout of it going on or whatever. When I found out, I'm like, I don't want you to feel judged as in we can never have these serious conversations, but I am judging you because this doesn't lend to the life that you said you wanted. You
Yeah.
said you wanted a husband. Well, if he's already married, that's not a thing. You said you want to respect just all these other things. So it's like, okay, I've seen you be tenacious at work. I've seen you be tenacious with your family and your friends. I'm not seeing you step up to romantic interest or the romantic realm of your life in the same confident way. So I was
Mm.
just like, I feel like it might be an issue of self-love and I really want you to think about that. And I don't mean you hate yourself, everything about yourself, but do you love yourself as much as you think you love yourself? Because it doesn't look like that. And it was hard to have the conversation, but
Yeah.
she seemed somewhat receptive. A light bulb went off for sure. That's what I mean about like looking at the word insecure. Like me saying self love and suggesting that she didn't have it the way she thought. You could just see a light bulb go off because I used that word, those specific words. So I think, like you said, people should be facing some specific words like you're a disappointment or maybe you're not that great of a like whatever the thing is. Sometimes you have to say it for people to be able to face it.
Hmm. I definitely agree with that. Like sometimes people we need to say the stuff like you said because I think we're in a time where everybody is so concerned with like trigger warnings and gentle friendships and not just gentle parenting, and then also just like condoning because everybody's allowed to do what they want, but it's like you're forgetting that this means that, like if someone is around there constantly just devaluing herself with men, like that's an insecurity that you have within yourself. Like yeah, it's self-love. Like you said it nicer, but it's also like that doesn't mean it's not insecurity. It's your friend is going to present it to you in a much more,
Yeah, yeah,
you know what I mean? So
that's
like
true.
when you are reacting, what how much do you weigh, oh, is this intuition or is this insecurity, or do you just react and figure out what it is later on?
I try to think about it before I go into determining how I'm going to react. Like, I've always been someone that tries to think about what's going on before she just reacts to it. Um, because I also have a temper, so I can't just react because yeah, that could land me in jail. So we're not trying to do that. But I try to think about it, and most of the time, for me, if it's something that's going to trigger an insecurity, I will approach it, but I will say, like, this is not something that has to do with the other person. This is an internal situation. Like, there was a prime example at one point. There was a guy I liked, and I had this, I guess you could say, a situation years ago with one of my friends where every time I liked a specific guy, she like would deal with them or sleep with them or whatever the situation was.
No.
Crazy.
Y'all not friends today.
So,
So what?
so what ended up happening was the guy I liked was hanging out with a friend of mine. It wasn't anything like that,
Mm.
but my insecurity from dealing with friends in the past
Mm.
was triggered, and I had to realize that's not anything that that person did. It's something I didn't do and I didn't say when I should have said something. So that's my insecurity. That was for me to deal with,
Mm.
and I have to look at it from those perspectives. Like, is that something for me to deal with? Because had I said something in the past, I wouldn't be triggered by it in the present.
Mm. Yeah, see.
That's fair. I feel like I'm the opposite. And I, at this big age, I promise you, this morning, because baby, I'm a move. If I feel it, I'm moving. I'm not. I wasn't joking about that 99.8 whatever percent earlier. If you send me a text, if it's something weird going on, I really have had to start telling myself like, just take a second. Because if you were correct with what you're thinking now, you'll be correct in 15 minutes, and you'll be correct tomorrow morning. But for whatever reason, I would see the text and I would be like, oh, so we're being funny. Oh,
Mm.
so we're like just whatever it is. And I would be like, so what are we doing about this? Or how are you feel? Like I would just, it is not a bad reaction, like a disrespectful reaction, but I would address it right then and there. Where taking a second to take a deep breath, not be as reactionary, or really thinking about it like you said, would maybe give me an alternate perspective that I probably should consider. I ain't
Mm.
gonna hold you. The problem is most of the time my ass be right. That's the problem.
Girl,
So
ain't that the fucking curse?
like I
It's
want to
like,
be wrong so bad.
uh,
But there
but
have
you know
been
me
some
right.
instances where I'm like, okay, I could have had I called my friend or had I sat with it a little bit, I would have thought about this already. And it's too late. I done already sent the text. I done already made the call. I done already made the comment. So I'm like finding myself wanting to be like, sit on it for a day. And like honestly, kudos to you for being able to sit with stuff because I don't know why it's so difficult for me. I
The only reason I'm able to sit with it is because I've been through experiences where I didn't sit with it and I
yeah.
reacted, and then I look like an asshole. So
Mm-hmm.
it got to a point where I'm like, all right, let me take in what I'm dealing with at this point in time, and then give it a minute before I go and just go off the handle or react instantly to it. So, like, if someone sends me a message or something, I'll read it, process it. If it's stupidity, I'll respond when I respond. But I'm going to take the time to sit with it before I go and say what I'm going to say because I do want to see, okay, am I crazy? Am I making this up in my head? Like, is this rooted in my own personal insecurity
Mm-hmm.
that I'm now lashing out at somebody else because I'm insecure about a situation that I never dealt with and I probably should have? Like, I consider all of those things before I just.
Listen,
I don't do none of that. Like, I'm gonna let you know because here's the thing: it's just like you said. I'm most of the time right, and I haven't felt like an asshole enough because I haven't been wrong enough. I'm not saying that there aren't times that I'm wrong, but it ain't affected me in a way where it's been impactful, right? So I am arrogant enough and I'm witty enough to respond immediately. You know what I mean? Like I can think very quickly on my feet. If a situation comes up, most of the time I'm not blindsided because if I care enough for the situation to affect me, I have perceived some shit that's going on because I only pay attention to shit that matters. Like you'd be surprised. I can have a conversation with somebody for an hour and a half and I'm in it and I'm giving the conversation when we get done, I don't know what we talked about because this person don't matter. But when you matter, it's all right here. It doesn't go anywhere. So if I see some shit happen, you say some shit, I think some shit, it's right now. I'm beelining. I'm beelining to address it or react to it or whatever the case is. You know what I mean? Because I don't need a day. Maybe if you say something in here and I'm on a high emotion, I'm upset or something, then maybe I need a day. But I don't think that that counts as an insecurity for me. Actually, I think it's complete opposite. I think because I am, for the most part, I'm insecure free. Like I have what me and Drew call delusional self confidence. You know, and that can be pretty frustrating to people. Like seriously, it's true. So it's like I have no reason to stop myself from reacting to this thing because I know I'm good and I believe I'm good and I know I'm not coming to you because back in '94 John did this or my mother used to neglect this or my you know what I mean? I know this isn't coming from none of that. This because you in this situation with me because probably something you did and now I'm about to let you know that this is where we at. So I don't know.
I
I
have a
don't relate at all.
question. What about I've had times too where I've thought about stuff and then I overthink myself out of the first thing. Like there's too much thinking. So now I'm having trouble like, well, how much am I supposed to be sitting with this information? Because TikTok.
That's how you got to get it out. That's how I'm like, all right, let me just say this. Like, I shoot straight from the hip. You will never have to guess with me. Like, you may not like that
But
I
you know
said
what?
it.
It's good practice though, because in some settings that may not be possible because of who we are, right? Like at work, I work with people, most of the people I work with do not look like me.
Mm,
That's the time where I'm forced, regardless of how I feel, to have to sit with it, to compose the write the email, the go over the script of the phone call I'm about to make to HR, because I'm definitely documenting something. Like that's when I feel like it's automatic that I think about it. It's automatic that I regulate my emotions or whatever. But with personal stuff, hip. Like and
yeah.
then I'm like, oh, I probably should have. I forgot. I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like just because you're right don't always mean it feel good after either.
What do you mean?
Like
Explain.
I could say something to somebody like, well, the reason you're blah 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 blah, it just comes out harsh, and you know this person don't like you to speak to them harsh. You're correct in the stuff you're saying, but it's like, damn, if you took a
It's a
couple
matter of
seconds, you might have
tone.
said it a little bit nicer. You might have remembered your sister's trigger or whatever, you know?
Hmm. I get what you're saying. Like I feel like I deliver what my version of truth is often.
Mm.
And I may not be like the nicest person, but I'm kind. So I'm not delivering this brutally, especially if I know it's going to be something that's a bit harder to take than your average, you know, conversation or me pointing something out or whatever the case is. So I think in that sense, I give care when I deliver it because if I'm delivering it to you, I care enough to do that. So I'm not trying to piss you off unless I am trying to piss you off. And that's usually just a man because that's what, like, come on. You know, because like, and then it's like, speaking of men, like when it comes to men and it's like your insecurities, I feel like a lot of men really play on women's insecurities. You know what I
And
mean?
this is why you do not tell it.
Definitely.
I don't know who's watching this. I don't know where you are. Baby, hear me and hear me now. Do not talk to that man about what you are knowledgeable about with your insecurities until he is tried and motherfucking true.
I say
Look
even
at
his
me, hear me. He has to prove that he's the person that he's telling you he is before you start going super deep with, when I was a child, this happened. My last boyfriend did this.
mm-mm.
And this isn't something that I learned through trial and error. I watch other people keep telling their man something and then coming to me telling me that he said this and he said that. And I told him this in 2020. And then when we argued in 2022, he brought it up. And now I'm in tears and now we arguing and we crying. Do not do it.
That shit is so
Do not
frustrating.
do. I've seen people say, "Well, I told him that so and so never bought me flowers, and that's why he said he never bought flowers." Or I told him so and so did X, Y, Z, and then he did it to me. Don't tell that man nothing. Anytime I'm dating a man and they ask me how my dating experiences have been, they've been great.
Like I'm a
People have treated me well. People do this now. To be fair, it is mostly true. I have been very, very blessed compared to some of the things that I hear about just dating experiences, whether it led to something or not. Don't tell that man, girl. Let it rock. You might want to share. You might want to connect. Find something else. Talk about the weather.
Lie, because at the end of the day, the past relationship should not have that much bearing on this new thing, especially if they're just exes that are ghosts in the past. Lie, because for whatever reason, they think that you can tell a man, I left this situation where these things happen, and they hear is you allow this to happen. That's what that I don't. This is what I
That
can
is the
give,
bar. This is what I'm
which
gonna
is
do. Thanks for
crazy.
giving me the roadmap, Dora.
That's
Don't
intuition
do
right
it.
there. Fucking lie.
Don't do. I'm
They
telling
giving me
you,
the road.
baby. Omit, lie, make something up, lie. There's a girl online who was like, she says she plants little seeds, little lie, very small, insignificant stuff. Like, I'm really afraid of cats, and she loves cats or something insignificant. And then down the line, the man might buy a cat or like push her towards a cat or something. It's just like it was never true, but I wanted to see who you were. Just don't
That's
See,
do it. Don't do it.
I never.
sociopathic on both sides, I think. I'm sorry, Kat, but it's like the fact that she like the men dating history has made her have to do that. I can see how valid that is. It's sociopathic, but it's reactively
It's
sociopathic
real,
because men
yo,
are
and you gotta,
sociopaths.
and you should be doing it all the time because we do it with people. If we meet, I'm 30 something years old. If I meet a new 30 something year old, I'm not giving her intentional tests, but it's like if you want to be my friend, I want to make sure that you're trustworthy. And a lot of times we will put exam A, exam B, level C, all these other things, and then when it comes to a mate, if it's I date men, so a man, it's like, oh well, that's not too bad, or oh, we just vibing. What happens to the exams? To the Regents test? Like what you got to be careful with people, and so the test might look different if it's a girl versus a guy or friendship versus not. Don't tell that man. Mum's the word, honey.
I make it a point to not say anything. So they're gonna have to dig. It's like an excavation because I'm not giving you nothing. Like, you will have to figure it out. You gonna have to ask friends. You gonna have to talk to my son. You gonna have to do something to kind of figure me out because I've gotten to a point, like she said, where men take advantage of those things they know are insecurities. So
Mhm.
therefore, now at this grown age, you're not going to get anything out of me.
What do you think about men? Like you said, men take advantage of insecurities, right? What about the men who will have a woman? It can be their actual girlfriend, fiance, wife, literally their partner, and then they do things to instill insecurity in them.
Like
What do you?
intentionally.
Yeah,
It's a control mechanism.
I think it's a projection.
It's that
Maybe
too, but
both.
it's also a little bit of both
Yeah,
because they want her to feel so insecure that she doesn't feel she can do better.
which is crazy because all you're saying is that you suck and that you need me to
Yeah,
be with. Think
And
I
you want me
suck.
to suck too.
That's
Mm.
crazy. But you like, and and I say this as someone I dealt with someone before who you was attracted to me because of this light that I have. I was all of this happiness and all of this energy, and you thought I was so cute and blah blah blah. And when you got with me, it pissed him off that he couldn't break my spirit because all the reasons that you were attracted to me now you hated because you wanted it to change. You kind of wanted to just like own who I was and want me to see nothing but you. And the fact that that never happened, despite me not being mean or rude or dismissive of you or anything, it really used to upset him. You understand what I'm saying? And that's when I learned that. Like I was like in my 20s, and I'm just like, you are
And it's
sad
sad
little
as
me.
hell. Because
Sad
he should
little.
be using that energy to be different. If you want to exude light and you want to be more charismatic or whatever, put your energy into doing it for yourself. Don't hate on me. Ask me how I got here.
Yeah. I think it's because
for
insecure men, they go after women because of the approval of other men. I honestly don't think like this man don't think highly of himself, and he wants to get what he considers to be the baddest of them all. And you want that woman because you want other guys to see you who don't think highly of themselves with something that these other men value, and that's why you can't handle being with her. You cannot handle
hmm
what she got going on.
and the biggest problem in all of that is you can't change nobody.
Mm.
You're
Say
not
that
going to change anybody. Like at the end of the day, people are going to be who they're going to be,
again.
and you just have to either deal with it or leave.
Hmm.
Like those are your options. If you're going to be with someone, you got to deal with what comes with them. Otherwise, walk away.
I think a part of
Don't
that
try
too
to
is
sit
like
there and change them.
people have a hard time admitting to their flaws, even to themselves. You know what I mean? Like it's very hard for someone to be like, "Oh, I'm inconsistent." You know what I mean? "Oh, I am not very God
Excuse
bless
me.
you. I am
Bless you.
not very romantic, and I'm with a girl who absolutely wants romantic gestures, and it pisses them off that this person wants or requires these things that they don't have, and instead of being like, well, this isn't a space that I can thrive in because I don't fit the mold, they try to force it, and then that's when that let me bring you down a few pegs so that I don't have to move up
Hmm.
a few pegs type thing happens. You know what I mean? I don't
Yeah,
know, like
sometimes people think that that gap in what they can do versus what somebody else needs makes them a bad person. It doesn't always make you a bad person. Like sometimes you're just not meeting the need, and that means that you're not for me. If we're in that situation, like if you're not married, if you're just casually dating, like you may not meet the need. This is not the job for you. Apply elsewhere. It does not mean you're a terrible person. You don't got to be knocking somebody between the washing machine and the dryer for us to know like, okay, this isn't working. You just don't meet my needs. Like if you're the girl is romantic or likes romantic gestures, and you struggle with it and you're not willing to use outside resources, you ain't gonna ask your homeboy how he did it, or your sister or your mother what they might like. Next
let me
job,
ask
next
you,
caller.
how easily do you admit to your flaws, like specifically?
I feel like I have anxiety, child, so my mind be moving. Think about three things I could have did differently in the situation before you even said, "Hey, Keita, I want to talk to you." So I'm already thinking about certain stuff. I also feel like I am really honest with myself. So there's not many things that I've heard as far as feedback from other people that shocked me or made me feel terrible. So
Mm,
I receive it pretty well, but I also think that that's why I'm so baffled when other people don't receive honesty well. Because in my mind, I'm like, it ain't hurt that bad. Like
mm.
you are right, but everybody's different. Everybody's different.
What about you, Kat? How easily do you admit to your flaws?
I can admit to my flaws now, more so than before. At one point, I was in denial. I'm not even going to lie to you. At one point, I was in severe denial. But I admit to them a lot more now. And I like it when I have friends who can come to me and be like, I don't like the fact you did this. Whether I agree or not, the fact that they're able to come to me and say they don't like something I did, I appreciate that. I may not always agree because it depends on perspective and standpoint and maybe and communication, but at the same time, I respect it and I will pay attention to, okay, maybe I could have handled something differently, or I can handle this situation differently next time around.
Yeah.
But it took a lot of self reflection for me to be able to accept, okay, yeah, I'm flawed, I'm not perfect, I'm gonna make mistakes, and there are gonna be things that I do that other people are just not gonna like.
Fair, fair. I don't know. I think I am aware of what my flaws are. I think the way I look at it is I don't have flaws that bother me. Like I don't have flaws that are detrimental to, my well-being and the things I do in my life. The only thing that I needed, and I worked on that this year, was just being consistent in my own hobbies and dreams and discipline for those things. You know what I mean? And that has nothing to do with anybody else. And it wasn't something that weighed on me where I'm like down on myself with it. So like if someone else comes to me, I think I think a lot of the times that people come to you and they about something that they perceive as a flaw in you, they want you to kind of be apologetic about it. You know what I mean? And if I hear you and I can see why you see that, or I disagree, or I don't feel like I need to change that action, that's where the upset comes in. Because even if I like, oh, I did not intend to make you feel this way, or didn't mean to do this thing, like I apologize. It's not enough for them if you don't accept it as they see it, and it's just like,
Mm.
like I told you before on one of the other episodes, how like I had the whole thing with my brother. We still don't see eye to eye on what that issue was, and we never fucking will. I'm okay with that. I'm aware that he thinks that I was like insufferable, and I feel like you're completely intolerant and you are too stubborn to see anybody's point of view. And we had to just come to terms with the fact that there is no middle ground, but we're brother and sister.
Sometimes you have to agree to disagree and press on.
And that's what
And
I'm saying.
sometimes you don't gotta agree to that shit. Just be like, we don't agree. I don't agree. Ain't
Like,
no agreeing. We just gonna disagree.
right, because it's like I'm not gonna sit here and own some shit. Like I'm not gonna own something that you see that I don't feel is mine to put in my pocket, even if you think it's about me. And I think that's where a lot of people get like that upset with you, because like I
Right.
think
There's a
part of
lot of
it makes
emotions tied to it too. Like if something you did hurt my feelings and I'm bringing it to you and you're like, I don't think that I intended to do it, but I also am not gonna do differently going forward. Right or wrong, it's hurtful. I think that's the
Mhm.
thing, right? Like they're still sitting in a place of hurt. Because sometimes you make up your own scenarios. Like, okay, if I go and tell her this, she didn't even know it. She's not aware of it. She's gonna be enlightened. She's gonna apologize and promise not to do it. And then you get there and she's like, well, yeah, I do know that I do that. I didn't know it was gonna have a negative effect on you, but I'm not gonna stop. I'm like,
But is that the way that it goes though? Is it, or is it more like,
not literally. That's a very superficial kind of comedic little twist. Not all the time. I guess
no, that's not
no,
what I
not all the
mean.
time.
I mean, like when you say that, let's say you'll say, Mel, you did this thing and it made me feel like this. And I'm like, oh shit, I had no idea. I feel like I can address and apologize for hurting your feelings or whatever caused you to pain. But I don't think, unless the action is actually messed up. If I punched you in the fucking face, bitch, it don't matter what you need to apologize to. It's a punch in the face. You understand? But if it's like something that action that you can't necessarily control because it maybe didn't have anything to do with you per se, even if you were affected
Oh
by it.
yeah,
I feel like I can address your feelings and what my actions did for your feelings, but I don't think that because your feelings were hurt, you get to control my actions if they were not detrimental or inherently just fucked up. You know what I
that's
mean?
fair. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's really fair.
And I think that's sort of there's a lot of issue with that, and people confuse things. Um, People confuse things when it comes to being able to like admit your flaws. I think that goes hand in hand with insecurity because they expect the admitting of flaws to be this huge change based on their perception, and that's not the way things work. That's my thought on it.
Admitting your flaws coincides with being able to take accountability for what you do.
Mm.
Um, Generally, you're not if you're not someone who's going to take accountability for who you are and what you do as a person, you're not going to admit you have a flaw. It's going to be like,
Yeah,
I'm perfect. Like, like that, like they say, you can't, if someone doesn't see that what they're doing is wrong, you can't make them think otherwise.
Is
they
overconfidence
damn
and
sure ain't gonna
insecurity,
change
you
it.
think?
I don't necessarily think it's an insecurity. I think it's overcompensation in some cases.
Mm.
Like there's one thing, and this is a lot of people will talk about like 50 Cent and Kanye West, and they'll be like, oh, 50 Cent's arrogant, and Kanye West before he lost his mind,
I
that
was
is.
like, he's a
They'll be
psychopath.
yeah, like old Kanye, not this one.
Mm.
But they used to talk about 50 Cent and Kanye West, and they'll be like, oh, 50's arrogant and Kanye's confident. And for me, I never saw it that way.
Me either.
I thought Kanye being arrogant and
Mm.
50 being confident. But a
Mm,
lot of people saw it the opposite in
okay.
that in how they viewed them. But I think to some extent arrogance or overconfidence is in some cases overcompensating.
Mm.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely is. Because what are we here for? We're like, why are you taking it to that level? Like, I feel
Mm-hmm.
like arrogance is after confidence, right? So it's like you start here, you get to confident, and you get to arrogant. What's going on that you needed to do more?
Mm.
What are you hiding? What are
Yeah,
you
I think it's
hiding?
also
What are you afraid
subjective
of?
too. I think it's subjective because it's like, and I say that based on where that arrogance comes. If you're just arrogant all around for everything, you're absolutely. I feel like you're absolutely compensating for something because every part of your entire life you just that amazing in. Like, bitch, there ain't shit that like that's just crazy. But if you are a fucking great with cars like you build cars from the inside out, you get allowed to be a little arrogant in the conversation because I knows this, I does this, you know what I mean? Like there ain't shit you can tell me about a spoiler, a hydro pump. I don't even know if cars have a hydro pump. I don't know, girl, car parts. A fucking
Girl, Mochi
engine.
Rich, that's all I know. Fuck.
You know, like a radiator, like then you can have some arrogance because you really true to this. But you can't have that same level for every single thing all the
Hmm.
time. Then I feel like, you know what I mean?
Then it's really, what are you hiding?
Yeah, there's some unspoken words there, but now you just got a superiority complex, and like, you know, I personally feel like a superiority complex is like insecurity in disguise. You know, like I think
Yeah,
about it.
there's a diagnosis for that, child.
Oh, for
It's a
real?
lot of stuff in disguise.
See, that's what I'm saying because, like, I think about it. When I think about it, I instantly go to like race when it comes to black people and white people. And white people have a superiority complex over black people just because they're white and we're black. There is nothing that needs to happen for that to be a thing to go. And I feel like that's an insecurity because you are threatened by this race of people and the potential things that we could do and the things that we have done. And some of them don't even realize it. You understand? But not to
Hmm.
get into the race thing, but that's, I do feel like having a superiority complex is
And it's
absolutely.
based on nothing.
I mean, but like if it is based on something, do you think that it would be like let's say you went to nursing school, right? And you a plug and plus student and Marianne, she might have got a C plus once and that was amazing. You know what I mean? Like that
Yeah.
wouldn't be a baseless that wouldn't be baselessly you being superior to her. That's a fact at this
Oh
point.
no, I was talking about the white people.
No, I'm saying, but like, is if a superiority complex is there and it's not baseless, is that an insecurity?
Mm. No, but I don't like it. Like it would annoy me. It would annoy me, but it's not baseless. Like if you did all the work, if you made all the things, if you have the information, the skill set, or whatever, and you have a superiority complex, yeah, it's not baseless. It's coming from something. It's rooted in something. It's based on something. It's also still fucking annoying.
Man, that's fair. Because who, like, yeah, miss think it all, do it all, know it all. Like, shut the fuck up. But I hear you. So let me ask you. So we all say we have flaws that you know, regardless of what we feel about them, we're all flawed because we're human, right? As we are going through life, we tend to grow and get better and change and experience things and strive for more. Should you allow yourself to date or fall in love when you have work to do on yourself?
I'm torn on this question. So I want to say work on you, but working on you is constant. Like, even if you end
Hmm.
up in a relationship, you fall in love with someone, you should still be doing what you have to do to improve who you are and grow yourself as a person. So I'm torn because part of me wants to say no, focus on you, but that's literally the stage I'm at in my life. That doesn't apply for everybody.
Mm,
Yeah.
But you're you should always, even in a relationship, be moving yourself forward and be improving yourself and growing and learning. And whoever you're with should be helping you do that.
Yeah. I do think it's situational. And like if you have a drug addiction, maybe going to the movies on Wednesday night should not be a priority. Maybe you shouldn't be dating. I think in AA and in NA, they tell you that it's probably not a good idea to have a serious romantic relationship, and I'm pretty sure they suggest you don't even date.
they
But
do.
if you have body image issues, maybe you can be taking care of that stuff while you're simultaneously dating, depending on what's going on. Depending on what's going on. I think like, or if you, trying to think of something else. If you need to work on your tone, do you got to spend a year not dating because you need to work on your tone, or can you work on your tone inside and outside of you dating?
Okay. I think you should not necessarily cut yourself off from dating when you are going through things because guess what? Like Kat said, working on yourself is constant, right? You can't really work on yourself if the way to work on yourself is to isolate yourself from the way your life is actually going to be lived when you're done working on yourself. Because now you did all of this for 365 days and nobody there. You need to put it in reality. So now you're still kind of testing what's going on when you align with this person because it's never been tested. You know the things that you
That's
can
true.
do, but you don't know how it works. So I don't think that you should stop your life. take more caution. Understand if something that you got going on, like if you need therapy because you've been so grief stricken that it literally stops you from living your life, then yes, you have to work on you because you can't even stand up on your own 2 feet. But if you just got regular shit, you're trying to meet goals, work wise or school wise, or just you want to improve your tone when you're speaking to people, you want to be more open, affectionate with your guy, you have to have
Mhm.
your life going so that those adjustments can come as you live and they'll be rolled into your daily. I think it's such a mistake when we think that isolation is the key to making us better. How?
Yeah.
This is not an isolated thing that you're trying to do. You want to do this with another
Yeah,
person,
people
you want to do
forget.
it alone? That's stupid.
We're human beings. We're social creatures anyway. So, like you said,
Mm-hmm.
depending on the situation, it's not gonna help you if you're isolating yourself. Now, sometimes
Mhm.
you need to isolate yourself. If you doing some, if you hitting people, if you actually hitting the pipe, like isolate, baby. Maybe don't not isolate from everyone. Don't be dating. You got to work on your
Yeah.
addictions. You got to work on keeping your hands to yourself. There are some things where it's like, yeah, nah, don't date yet. Don't date yet.
Yeah,
I
Ask
that's
your
think
therapist.
I think honestly people should just live their lives, continue to grow themselves, and if they're meant to date, they will date. If they just, it kind of let it happen organically.
excuse me.
Bless
Bless
you.
you.
Thank you. Wow. Keytah, you started that. I want you to know that. Pat, you next, girl.
Don't jinx me. I've been sneezing all day. I'm allergic to life.
Wow. We going to the allergist tomorrow. Okay, so now we're all women of a certain age, and we ain't gonna ever be not of a certain age. And what insecurities, and I'm using that very loosely, okay? What insecurities have come as a woman with aging? For me, it's only been physical stuff. Look at this shit. Look, you see this here? I didn't have this when I
What
wasn't
is that, ball?
36. The little things. And it's funny because when I
Oh
was
yeah, yeah,
younger,
yeah.
When I was freaking young, I used to see all the old ladies with the big shits around. I'm like, how
And
the
you was
fuck
talking,
did
and
they?
then she was popping big shit. She
I
was
wasn't.
popping big shit. Now look at
I
you,
was just
one of the old
curious.
ladies.
I was just curious, like, where did that come from? And now in 2024, because this happened last year, I'm like, oh shit! Look at me! Look, we over here too. My mother the other day, she's like, oh, that one got bigger. Not bitch, but bitch. Like, what the fuck is you doing? But it's like I'm aware, and it's not necessarily
Oh god.
insecurity, but it is something that if I had a genie and it was like, do you want this to happen? No, nigga, fuck. You know what I mean? Like, that is a thing, and that's the only thing I'm willing to put out there that has come with aging that I could live without. I could live without it.
I'm embarrassed to tell you what I could live without.
If you say pubic grays, I've heard that this week, so you would not be the first.
Well, that's one of them, and I'm mad because nobody, like not even my mother, told me that that would be the first thing to go gray.
Girl, just
Okay,
go
like
bald.
nobody puts you onto that. Like when were y'all gonna tell me this?
Mm-mm.
Like it was
To
just
the
like
great Coochie.
surprise.
Go
But
fucking bald because who needs, like, first of all, I can get old. These can get old. My coochie, she is still youthful.
Spring chicken, baby.
Like,
Oh,
no, you
seasoned,
can't age
seasoned,
with me, bitch. You need to get it
seasoned and
together.
marinated.
Ruining
but
my
no,
fucking life.
for me it's chin hair because apparently
Ah,
that's a
keep
family
the
trait.
fucking
Mm.
tweezers.
So I got tweezers in the car, tweezers in the bathroom, tweezers in my bedroom. I'm going to get laser hair removal because this is ridiculous. Like,
And you gotta catch it before anybody else see it. Like, oh, real
yes, like I'm sitting there
Yo.
like this all the time, and people looking at me like I'm crazy. Like, I'm not trying to look like the bearded lady. Like, I'm
like,
Oh,
hello, I still gotta catch me a man. Like, what is you doing? Fighting against us. Keita, join the crowd. Join the crowd. Come on. Come on.
child, I'm trying to think of something I'm insecure about. I don't feel like I have the same inflated sense of self that Melanie does. I know Melanie in real life is higher than mine, okay?
good.
But I didn't say I was too far behind her. Like
We our
the
birthdays are
things that
4 days
I
apart. There are reasons for, like there's similarities for reasons, girl. Gemini all day.
like I feel like there was momentary times of insecurity, like when I gained weight, but I know that's from society and all that. You know what I mean? Like it's like a very small lapse in time. Like I've been in shape for forever. Like I played basketball. Genetics definitely helped me. Whatever. When I started to gain weight, there was a moment in time where I was like, oh, like my body is changing. I don't look the same. I'm not perceived or received by other people the same. But I'm, grateful that I kind of knew, like, oh, this is a society thing. Like they train you to think that like a larger woman or a different body or a blah 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 blah. So two things happened. One, I remembered like, oh, this is where this comes from, and then two, I remember who the fuck I am. I actually am decent inside and out. So when the
Say that
outside
shit.
changed, I'm like, okay, not as much of a baddie, a thick baddie, a marshmallow baddie, still a baddie. I'm still as smart. Like I'm still making the same money. You know what I'm saying? So then I just kind of like it was very they're temporary. I feel like I don't really feel like I have like a long term insecurity that I'm worried about with getting older. Cause like I
Well,
wear
guess
wigs, so if my hair falls out tomorrow, nothing's really changed. So I don't
right.
know.
Like if I start turning gray, I decide I'm just gonna dye my hair white like Storm. I think I can pull it off.
Sad
I
bitch to
did
bad
that
bitch.
once. Well,
Momentary sad bitch, back to bad bitch.
Mm,
I
mm,
didn't
mm,
dye
mm.
my hair, but I put in like gray faux locks. It's really cute, especially with black women. I love
No,
black
it's
women
gonna
in
be like
gray hair. I
white.
think
It's gonna
it's
be like white.
absolutely adorable.
It's going to be like white. I'm gonna fucking look like Harry. What
Love
is in
white
Harry
hair.
Potter's
I love white
boyfriend?
hair. I love gray hair. I mean, I don't want it right now, but like
No,
I think, like you said, especially on black women, it looks amazing. Like I
Hmm.
hope I have a head of grays when I feel it's more age appropriate. Give me
she's talking
55,
about her
60.
Lord. She didn't say we should have a head of gray. She said she wants.
Oh
I
my.
don't. I don't
But
give a
like
fuck. I already got eye moles.
55, 60, 55,
I'm
60.
just saying. I already got eye moles. I don't need more shit going on. Like,
I
come
like the silver
on.
fox. What's the thing for old lady? It's not silver fox, that's guys. What's
We got something.
they gotta come what's it called?
I don't know. All I know is it's not relatable. All I
It could
know
be
is
a silver
cougar.
cougar.
Oh, just there we go.
A silver
Silver cougar.
cougar. I
That
just
sounds
coined
so.
it.
All right, let me ask the
Silver
question. So,
cougar.
based on what you said, and like, all right, like Kat, you said like you gained your confidence, and that's how it grew your intuition. And you said you don't really have too many insecurities, but it's like when you gained some weight, you felt that and you wanted to change it. Can being in the presence of someone who is very confident when you are not feeling your most confident make you question things more about yourself? Do they affect you, or do you feel that anyway, or it's just not related?
I think it affects me in a positive way, not in a negative way. Like usually I'm like they're exuding this energy, like they're happy, like I want to kind of be on that level versus
Mm,
like, oh, I don't have that right now. Like usually I feel like it works in my favor. Like if I'm feeling down about something, the girl, get dressed, let's go out. You're beautiful, blah, blah, blah. Like it kind of helps me. It doesn't make me feel more critical.
fair.
One of my best friends, and it's funny because everybody has certain things that they want to change about themselves, but like, she's one of the most confident people I know, and she could care less what anybody thinks about how she looks, what she does. And honestly, she was the one who kind of helped to boost my confidence in a lot of ways.
Mm,
Because her energy and, there were certain things where I just didn't feel comfortable wearing because of my chest size, I always perceive myself as being bigger than I actually am. Um, because so a lot of the times I wouldn't wear certain things because I'm thinking I'm fat. Mind you, I'm not really fat. My chest is just
and big titty
massive.
hoes, big titty.
Yeah, they're just huge. Like, so,
That's the only thing I
it
like
got
from
to a
gaining weight.
point
I
where
finally
she
got
made
boobs.
me she made me realize like you're not fat. It's you just have to find stuff that one fits your chest, but it's flattering for the rest of you. And
Mm,
so once I was able to kind of find things like that, it helped to boost my confidence because when you're not feeling comfortable in your clothes, you're
yep.
not going to be your most confident.
Yep.
Right.
That's very true. It's like dress for your body. I think we do not
Mm-hmm.
do that. And it's just like you can look
It's
so
hard. It's
good.
hard for a lot of people.
It is. It is. Like me, I still kind of struggle with it because I feel like my default is to dress that I dressed before I had a kid. I've always been like shapely, but I am much thicker since I wouldn't had a baby. You understand? That's could be
Yeah,
good. It's
snicker,
good.
baby.
But the thing is, like, if I'm going to order something, if I'm like, when I visualize it in my head and then I put it on my body, it's like, oh, right, you can't do that anymore. You know what I mean? Like, that ass don't go in that. You know, after
Yo.
baby titty, it just, you're right. You know what I mean? So it's like, I still haven't learned to adjust. And my son's going to be 10. That it's your image of who you are in your head does not move with your life. I don't know why. I'm aging, but my mental image is not. You know, like we
'Cause I still look
2012
25.
Melanie. Like
And
it's
it's the
crazy.
same because how you see yourself is not how other people are going to see you. Like,
Yeah.
after my son, I gained a lot of weight, but then I lost a lot of weight.
Mm,
Like, I went up to like my biggest being almost 300, and then I dropped like 75 of that.
mm,
So, so to go from one extreme to the other, I'm sitting there like, all right, how do I dress now for this size and this shape
mhm.
and this body? It's difficult. Like, it's not easy to do.
Yeah, and it's like just to speak on something funny, like how you said, like I have like an inflated idea of who I am. Let me tell you why that's true. Let me tell you why that's true. So I tend to think of men in particular. Like I remember I was saying to somebody, oh no, he's probably like 5'8". Da, da, da. This man was 6'2". Why did I think it's 5'8"? Because I look at him as like you a little nigga. Because I think I'm big. Like I don't think I'm bigger than you
Yo.
physically, but I think of myself bigger than you. So I think of a lot of guys as short. Like I went out with my friend to the movies to see Sinners, which I need to see. If you didn't see that, it's my fucking movie. Seen it twice, but I went with her and I'm like, I forgot you was this fucking tall, and it's just like. How, bitch? You just saw me the other day, but in my mind, you a little nigga because I'm the big dog. That's
I'm a big dog. You're the
I
big
promise. That's how I speak in
dog.
my. I realized that in the last like 7 months, I was like, "It's something wrong with you, Melanie, because you know you're wrong, but you don't know you're wrong till you remember you're wrong." I just wanted to say that. Sorry, but let just to get back on topic. So it seems a lot of the insecurities that women experience is tied to our physical selves, right? In some
Yeah.
form of fashion, whether it's passing, whether it can be changed or altered, whatever. You know what I mean? For men, I feel like it is tied to their money because a lot of men, in my experience, self-worth has been tied to what they consider to be value, and value is money, right? Have
Hmm.
you ever experienced, I'm not gonna ask what's it like, we know what it's like, it's fucking terrible. Have you ever personally experienced the negativity that comes with dating or dealing with a broke ass man? Girl, tell us about it.
Mm-mm.
Let me get my water. Tell me about it.
Mm-mm. Share with the class. Share with the class.
um, it's so the thing is he wasn't totally broke. He had a job. Okay, like everyone I've dealt with has had a job. The thing is, I intimidate a lot of men because of the fact that
Keep it up.
most of the time I made more money than they did.
Mm-mm.
Mhm.
And so it became a problem. Now, I'm not the type of female that I expect them to pay for everything. I'm not, if I'm in a relationship or whatever the case may be, I'm not expecting him to pay for everything. I will do certain things if I'm in a relationship. However, with that being said, it's, I guess it was a situation where there's kind of a competition
Yep.
because of the fact I made more money or whatever the situation. And it was like, why I'm not competing with someone I'm in a relationship. That's stupid.
It's
Like,
so weird.
whatever, whatever I bring to the table is what I bring to the table. Whatever you bring to the table is what you bring to the table. I don't
Mhm.
give a damn what you bring to the table because guess what? I'm always going to make sure I'm straight. So whether you leave or leave tomorrow or whatever the case may be, I'm going to be good.
That's the
But it
problem.
was always a competition with the fact that, or it was always an issue or a jealousy with the fact that I made more than they did.
Because you don't need him. You have not made him feel like he can have this. macho patriarchal control over you that he's been told that he's supposed to have, because how are you in a position that they said that I'm supposed to be there? So they got this issue with you having more money, but that did not stop them from dealing with you. They did have stopped them from trying to find their ways into your life. It's
And it's weird as hell.
mind
It's weird as
boggling.
hell.
It is.
But it's a lack of self awareness because if you, as a man, know that you would be uncomfortable with a woman making more than you or a woman calling the shots, then stop messing with people who like to call the shots and make more money than you.
They can't do that because men lie to themselves all the time. He ain't gonna tell you. You think a man, most men, and they can be mad all they want when they watch this. Fuck y'all. They gonna sit there and say, "I can't deal with a woman who make more money to me than me." Because just how it's not manly for her to make more money than him, it's also not manly for him to admit that. So you're in a rock
That's
and a
true.
hard place, smack dab in the fucking middle. They don't have that type of honesty and self awareness. Niggas lie a lot all the
In
time.
my
Indeed.
opinion, it comes across very feminine.
Bitch ass
Mm.
niggas say
It
it.
comes across very
Wink.
feminine
Yo.
because at the end of the day, if you're doing what you need to do as a man for you and you're doing the best that you can at that point in time and you plan on doing better, me making more money than you shouldn't be an issue.
Some
Yeah.
people ain't well rounded. They ain't got shit else to offer. How they gonna be confident in something else? All they got is their bank account. Some people were not raised to have value in other shit like, oh, you work really well with your hands, or oh, you're a supportive partner, or you'll be a good dad. It's just, oh, I don't got no money and da da and that's it. I see all the time people be like, men be angry and broke. Women gonna figure it the fuck out.
We gonna figure the fuck out and we gonna make it work. And that's just what we do. You got the guys who will be with you hating that you make more money. Then you got the guys who's pretending that they are okay with it. Like, oh, you got it, big money. They make those little tasteless jokes and they say stupid
Hmm.
shit.
I want to
Nigga.
punch this phone right now. Big money will piss me clean the fuck off.
Yes. Oh, wipe me down and spit shinings. I'm about to
Because
fuck you
who
up.
is your
Clean
mother?
them.
Where is your daddy? Give me their numbers right now. I'm calling them to tell them that on September 17th of 2000 and whatever damn year it is, their son Taquavion called me big money with his bitch ass.
Quavion.
Say that to somebody.
But they do that. They'll
Not
make
to
those type of
Quavion.
jokes. Oh,
What?
you got it. You could afford it, or saying shit like that. And it's like, why are you pocket watching me? I don't give a fuck if I make 8 times more money than you as a grown ass man. It's tasteless. I, I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna say that. But yes, I don't like that. And dating broke men is one, it's not fun because they're mad because before you came into my life, I was living my life. You know what I mean? Like, you see, we go out and we
Hmm.
like when we remember that day, Keita, we went out, me, you, and the other two, and we all went. We were supposed to go to brunch, okay, Kat? We were supposed to go
Mm-hmm.
to brunch, and that was at like 11 a.m. We didn't get home, and it was like a fucking Sunday until like one something in the morning. We done went to all these places, and
One in
we
the
eat
morning. We
at every
went from
place.
brunch
To the bar,
to the bar next door. We went to,
to
I
the
think,
hookah
another
spot,
bar and then
and then
a
we went
hookah
to the
spot.
chicken spot.
And we
Like,
did, and then we went to the chicken spot. We had a whole day. Like Lisa Ray said something like that recently. She has a certain lifestyle,
mm,
and she is only comfortable with being somebody who is able to keep up with and or enhance that
yes,
lifestyle.
that's the point
So
I'm
if
making
I
here.
go on
Yes.
vacations quarterly, because sometimes people like to hear women talk about this and they get upset because they don't have a private jet. I'm not Lisa Ray. And that's not what I'm discussing, right? I'm talking
Mhm.
about if I go on quarterly vacations, when you come into my life, I'm expecting that we continue to go on quarterly vacations.
Why do I have to downgrade to insert you there? And if you cannot keep up, admit that. And at the very least, admit it in the beginning. I know you won't because, like I said, men's lie and niggas lie a lot. But that self-awareness and then that honesty, if a man was to give the woman that honesty, I know you go out on quarterly vacations and we vibing and we really like each other, but I can't keep up with your lifestyle, just like that nigga in what's that Steve Harvey movie, What Men Want, no, How to Be, the movie that
Think
he
like a
made.
Oh,
man.
how to,
You
yeah,
think
think
like
like
a
a
man.
man, act like a, that one.
Yeah, and the light skinned one that dropped the kids out the window, and for color girls told the woman like, oh, I can't keep up with your lifestyle, and then she got to make her decision to go with her broke ass man. You know what I mean? They don't give us decisions; they just give us their beef. Why I gotta have your attitude? You waking up in the morning because I done went and got my feet and nails done, and I'm going out to dinner later with my girlfriends, and you pissed at me because I'm not doing this with you, but you couldn't afford to if I was, and now that's my problem because you
Moral
mad.
of the story: don't date broke men.
Say that again one more time, real loud.
Moral of the story: don't date broke men. I tell
In
people
that
I only
case, a
date
lot of
generous
us
men.
women are going to be broke. I mean, not broke. A lot of us women are going to be single. At this point,
Yo,
especially black women, most of us make more than black men in general.
Yeah.
yeah. But honestly, I feel like it's about generosity. I've dated people who made 60,000. I've dated people who made six figures. A generous man will always be a generous man. Because if you make $40,000, you're gonna figure out how to take her on dates. You're gonna use your resources or whatever. It's not just about being broke like the money. It's broke and being spiteful, broke and not having vision and not being
Hmm.
generous. Because ew, no,
Yeah.
no.
And not finding other ways to bring value.
Mm-hmm. And then they blame you for making them feel insecure, which brings me to my
Hmm.
next question. Do people make other people feel insecure, or is it self-inflicted?
I think that's self-inflicted.
I disagree with you.
I think people can make you feel that way. I think
Mm-hmm.
people, not even just in romantic relationships. I was in grad school and I worked my ass off to get in grad school. Like, I won't go over my academic accolades, but like, I was supposed to be in that program. When they decided on people in December, the day after the interview, they were like, please come here. When I got there were people who were plainly just having issues with what I looked like. I was tall, I was curvaceous, I was black, and I was confident. And there are professors who don't look like me who would make certain comments about things or wouldn't give me full credit for stuff or I had to fight for the points or whatever. After you have people constantly questioning who you are for a long period of time, you can start to question it yourself. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and that's just, and I'm only using academic example because a lot of times people use romance and it's like it happens in other settings. If you're at
Mm-hmm.
work and they're constantly questioning your productivity and you think that you're hitting the marks and the numbers say you're hitting your marks, but your boss is saying otherwise because you're a woman, because you're black, or because you're older or younger or whatever, you may get to a point where you're starting to question like, well, am I doing my job right? Or do I need to do more or whatever? Those insecurities didn't come from you. You thought you were fine before, but that constant badgering or that constant negative feedback has got you now being a little more insecure about what you got going on. And in romantic relationships, it applies too. Like if they're telling you you're bigger, if they're not giving you compliment, whatever the thing is, it's gonna start to be, oh well, do I look different? Should
Mm-hmm.
I be doing more of this? Am I too loud? They were just laughing at your loud ass hyena laugh. Now all of a sudden it's too much.
Yeah,
That's
I
true.
go with you because while I know before we had a conversation on one of these episodes, Kat, and it was like, I don't think anybody can make you do anything, right? What
Mhm.
you do is a response to your feelings. But I do believe that people have a lot of power to persuade your feelings and your views, in any area. And unfortunately, that can mean negative and that can mean against yourself. Like you just said, it sometimes it's persistence, it's constant, that consistency of this person constantly speaking down to you, pointing out this thing, like I pointed out the thing with my IMOs. They don't actually bother me, but I know they're there. Now, if I was with somebody on the daily, whether it was my homegirl, it could be my son because he's 9 and kids say whatever, it could be my man, whatever. And you're constantly telling me, oh, like, dang, now I'm going to just like, well, I didn't think they was that bad. You know what I mean? But now I'm going to start to adjust a little bit because I was something I'm never aware of is now at the forefront of my day every day when you open your mouth, person who I care about. And now it coming from your mouth to my ears, it's going into my head, and I'm thinking about this on a more daily basis than I would have if you hadn't said anything. So yeah, you aren't necessarily forcing me to do anything, but the influence there, I think we have to give a lot of credit to influence. People deny
Yeah.
influence all the time. It's like people are influenced to do stupid shit like suicide pacts. You people can be influenced to get with a group of other people and kill themselves, and we think that we can't be influenced for anything else
Yo, why would you say it like
because
You're
that?
that
right.
that's what
Because it's
it
true,
is.
but you it's
It
just
is. It's
hearing it.
true. And
Just
Because
and
hearing
when you put it that way, it makes sense because in reality, teasing is the same thing.
it.
Teasing has that
Hmm.
same effect for
Mm.
children. Like if you're constantly teased, yeah, it's gonna affect, your how you view yourself and your confidence levels. But at the same time, the reason I was thinking it's more so internal is because it's our choice whether we want to take that on or
Mm.
Is
not.
it though?
But you're right. It does impact how you see yourself in a lot of ways. But I guess now as an adult, because I was teased as a kid, but as an adult, the way I see it is, oh, you're pointing that out. Okay, yeah, that's something I know about, but I'm not going to let what you're pointing out affect how I feel about me.
Mm.
It's
Okay.
now it's a thing of I know I have no control of what people say, but I have
Mm.
control of how I respond to what they say and what I feel about what they say. So if you're telling me, oh, you're fat, you're ugly, okay, that's your opinion, but I'm not going to internalize that and then allow it to bring me down or make me feel a way about how I look because
You don't
that's
have
how
to
you
accept
feel.
it as truth. Just
Right.
because they said it doesn't mean you have to accept it as truth. That's true. That's true.
So that's the way, like, but you're right in that it can be external because if somebody's constantly picking on you, picking on you, you're going to start to reevaluate certain things and look at certain things like, well, maybe, it might start to bother you. But I'm like, at the age I am now, there is nothing anyone's going to say that is going to change how I see and view myself.
Mm. I can see that. So, do you think when it comes to dealing with insecurities, do you think more grace is given to men or to women to be in that space and navigating it?
Mm.
I say
I
women
personally give women more grace than men. I don't really give men a lot of grace for very much. Like,
deserve it. Let's be real.
because I just feel like I feel like we deserve more grace based on how society is and stuff. Like, I ain't trying to hear that shit. I give space to my homegirls. Like,
Yeah,
shout out to
I
bitches.
I
Shout out to
think
the
that
women of the world.
I think men deserve more grace than what they get. But
That
only
I
reason
do
why I
agree with
think
that.
that is because I think women get more grace because we're allowed to be emotional. And security is a negative
Mm,
emotion. Men don't deal with negative emotions that make them look anything. They can deal with anger because that doesn't make them look feminine or
yeah.
vulnerable. But I think men deserve more grace. They ain't never gonna get it because that's something they're gonna have to pull up. What they say, pull you by bootstraps for themselves, but they
Mm,
constantly play against their own interests when it comes to the societal acceptance of it. So women are absolutely given more grace because we're also willing to talk about it way more freely. We having a conversation right here on a podcast that's going on the internet. Yeah, we ain't got 1,000 followers, but anybody could see it. And I don't think this kind of conversation would happen as easily between a group of three men right here. You know what I
no,
mean? But I
that's
think they
true.
need more grace. I think we all will be happier if they had more grace, but they don't
Men
get a
Because
chance
aren't
men
to
get
do this
more grace
themselves.
with physical insecurities. Like,
Like you're short, your teeth are
you're
fucked up. You look
short,
like you
you
beat
got
a
a pot
bomb.
belly, your hairline started receding at 25, your goatee been your beard been patchy for 18
Mm,
years, and you're still allowed to think that you got it like that. A woman, whether she has a child or not, she gains weight, she has hip dips, she's not a
mhm,
Coke bottle shape, she's not super skinny, she's short, she's tall. Like, I think that we get less grace for as it relates to physical insecurities. We get a
I
lot of grace when it comes to emotional things. And I think it's the opposite with physical with men. Like, no nobody saying nothing about this pop, but this it could be a 300-pound pot belly muck right now talking about she ain't bad, she ain't cute. And it's like,
like, sir, have you
who
looked
are
in the
you to
mirror
talk about physical? But it's just like they don't even think he a funny fat nigga, so it's all right.
today? Right. And I like my big teddy bear, and we're so accepting too. We're much more accepting of their constantly and always present physical flaws than they are of ours.
Dad
but
bods. Dad bod became the it thing. It's trending. Everybody wants a dad bod now. When have
Now,
you
mom
ever heard
bod,
somebody say, I want a mom bod? And what the fuck is a dad bod? You didn't even carry the
moms don't
baby.
want mom bods. Women have
first
babies and
off,
schedule their mommy makeup makeover immediately.
I like
Mhm.
my post baby body, okay? I like it better than my pre baby body, if I'm being honest. But I don't think men are granted the ability to have the emotional vulnerability that women can have.
That's true.
because women, usually within our sister circle or whatever you want to call it, we have the ability to go to our friends and have conversations about what we're feeling, our emotions. Men don't really have that, because if they go and tell their homeboys that they feel sad, their homeboys is gonna clown them. Right?
That's
Like
facts.
they're
That's
going to get
facts.
clowned. And it's sad because they can't open up to their homeboys, but at the same time, there's a lot of women they can't open up to either.
Yeah, I think that men need to, when people are having these types of conversations, pointing out what's going on is cool, but like Melanie said, talking about the root cause of it. Men have created a society in which men now don't have the space, the grace, or the ability to tap into
Mm-hmm.
their emotions. That
Yeah.
is not something that women had a hand in creating. We might still play into it, but men taught us to do that too. And
Yeah.
how you can tell is because when we are around women, we do allow that space. It is a
Mm,
direct reflection of what men have created. Not every single man, but men have
A lot of
created. And
them.
if you have created it, you can also disassemble it. But it's going to take your effort, the men, to do it. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. So while you're complaining about not having a safe space, create it. Because the sister circles were created by women for women.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And this comes with them not being historically oppressed, but not realizing not being oppressed in the traditional way that women have in the same country and in the same societies. You guys did it to yourselves. You gave your own self oppression and you keep passing it down societally, which is insane. So we're
And
going
you're
to get ready
seeing
to
it
go.
works. Like there are black men who are having there's a guy from Albany I just saw online that he graduated. He's from here. He started the program here, but it's like a program that teaches black fathers to be better fathers. And there's
Oh,
like levels to the program. And then he just graduated like 100 people in the program, which I think is like the highest enrollment that he's had so far at like one individual given time. I
yeah.
found out he's from Albany. I found out he started this program in like 1994. So when people come together and they figure it out, when men come together and give themselves that space, it's beneficial.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I saw that too. I didn't know he was from Albany. That's dope.
I didn't know it either. I forgot who told Wallace, the girl Wallace. She went to Albany
Oh,
High and then she went to
she's
Morgan
from.
State. We both went to HBCUs in Baltimore. Shout out to HBCUs and shout out to Baltimore. But she told me about it and then I looked it up and I was like, oh my gosh, she is from here, which is it's nice.
And we need more of that. And men have to find it within their own circles that we are excluded from. Like they can start at the barbershop. That's supposed to be mostly male dominated space for them to begin that. But that takes a bravery for something that has never
Hmm.
been out there. And honestly, there's not really much stock for us to put anything in it because this is not something we can do for you. They tell us
Yeah,
all the
it's
time there's
really
certain
not.
things that a woman can't do for a man, teach a man. This is one of those. And good luck to you guys. You have examples to follow.
Yeah, because there are men doing it. It's not, there are people doing it, maybe on smaller scales than we would like to see, but it's getting done. And so people really
Mhm.
need to, you really got to figure it out. Get them
Right.
bootstraps, like she said.
Pull them up. So, okay, we're going to get ready to go. I do want to just ask one last question. What is the worst part you feel of dealing with someone that has insecurity and like they are someone that matter to you? So you're not just going to dismiss them. What is the worst part about dealing with them in your daily capacity? Like I'll say for me, it's I feel like a lot of the times people who are insecure, that doesn't make them shy, it doesn't make them nice. It just makes them insecure, right? So for me, I feel like it's the constant need to feel like you want to humble somebody who doesn't have that same insecure reflection of you. You know,
Hmm.
like me, I'm very confident, but I don't push people down for that confidence. And people who are insecure tend to want to do that. And I see it a lot with me. I know somebody and it's just like every time I see it, oh, those jeans, that if they was like a size bigger or a size smaller, or you've gained this weight, or oh, when they come over my house, oh, I like the way you did the curves, but they would look better in this. It's something all the time. Like you're constantly trying to like humble me. If I do something great, now you want to, instead of saying congratulations, this is amazing for you, is well, just be careful because it is. And it's like you're not saying anything necessarily wrong or insulting, but you're constantly
Mm.
trying to drop me down a peg or two instead of allowing me to be be thriving or happy in this moment. And that is the problem for me, because I clock it. I clock it every fucking time. You know what I mean? And it's just like, I'm going to say something about it. You know what I mean? Or I'm gonna look at you like, do you ever realize that you constantly are speaking negatively when it comes to anything with me? Like, do you know that that's where you go first? Maybe just drawing it to them. But if it wasn't somebody who really was like, if cutting them off isn't a simple thing for me, I would cut them off. Like, that's the only exception. But that is my biggest pet peeve with them: the constant need to try to humble people who don't have these issues that you have.
So for me, it would be the same thing, and I actually had that experience. And I told the person, "Why do you do that?" And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, they're like, "What are you talking about?" And I'm like, "Why do you feel the need to nitpick and nag at every single thing I do? And if it's something that brings me happiness, like I remember I started doing taxes, and I started my own little side hustle or whatever doing taxes." And I was like, oh, it'd be great. Now I'm setting my standard of like, listen, if I can get 5 clients for the first year, I'm happy.
Okay.
Right. So I was like, oh, I may have like 10. It turns out I ended up with like 10, 11 people asking me to do their taxes. So I
Okay.
was like, oh,
Okay.
that's great. If all 10 do their taxes, I'll make a good amount of money. The person is going to tell me, well, don't get your hopes up.
Mm,
Why you want to rain on my parade? What the fuck?
Right. And I was like, why do
mm.
you do, why do you make it a point to, if I'm like happy about something or I'm interested in something, it's like you always make it a point to bring me down a notch, as opposed to saying, well, I hope that works out for you. You could have just said, I hope it works out for you, and left it at that.
Right.
Instead, your response is, don't get your hopes up.
Fucking haters. Haters. You got to
These
be
are
careful
fucking
with the people in your
haters. So
circles.
insecurity must be hateration in its dancery. Cause no. I feel like I haven't had that many experiences where like a key person in my life, their insecurity led to them like trying to like belittle me or whatever. It's frustrating for me if I care about somebody and they're so insecure and it just seems hopeless. Because obviously you care, but like, so if it's a romantic relationship and they can't even tell you where the insecurity is stemming from, not in a vindictive way, their insecurity doesn't come out as malice. It comes out as like uncertainty or lack of confidence. And now they're like tiptoeing around and you want them to be more of an assertive partner, but they're insecure about when you guys go out because people are looking at you or whatever it is. Like, when I'm talking to you about it and you don't see it, you don't understand it, you can't vocalize it, you're not tapped into it. And I'm just like, okay, well, I don't know what to do with this because you don't see it. You're not figuring it out. Like, there's nothing I can do to push this forward. That becomes frustrating to me because it's like I can't. I don't know what to do with this. It's
Mm,
got to be done. Or with friendships, sometimes too, it's like I done try every which way, girl. Like this might be a journey you gotta walk on by yourself. That can be a
mm.
little frustrating and just sad overall.
Yeah, I think it's frustrating also to like, this person has this insecurity. That doesn't mean the insecurity is accurate. It's just how they perceive it, right? And then
Right.
you find yourself wanting more for this person and they're never
Thank
living
you.
up to it. And it's just like, I cannot be around you. This is frustrating. And then
It's frustrating.
they constantly say the things to try to get you to give them either like pity. Oh Lord, I
Don't
hang it
get
the
me
fuck up.
started
I
with
got
that.
nothing.
When people go fishing for compliments, you can tell when somebody's like, "Oh, I don't really like my hair today," and they really are like, "I don't really like it. Maybe give me tips
Hmm.
or feedback or help me." Versus, "I don't really like my hair today," and it's like, "But you just want me to say that your hair is nice today."
Right.
And
Or
newsflash,
they
if I
go
thought it
the
was fucking
opposite
nice, I would have been said
direction.
it.
They go the opposite direction and they over exaggerate something bad that happened so that you can feel really bad. And you can like, how much sympathy do you want me to give you? Like, I have I have very low reservoir. I cannot do it. As one person, I have to get a phone with her. All right, well, I'm gonna call you later. Good luck. Like, and I know that seems rude, but it's like, it's me or you right now. And I'm always gonna choose me. Good luck to you. So, but I think we're at time. Thank you both so much for coming on here and chatting. I really enjoyed our conversation. Keytah,
Thank you
thank
for
you
having
for
me. It was
coming.
fun,
Hey,
girls.
thank you for having me.
Yes, Kat, you know good well I'm gonna be calling you the next recording. Shut up.
It's okay. I'm here. I'm not I'm not doing much of nothing.
Actually, you
So
can't leave because people love you. Actually, I got a call
Shout
literally
out to
today.
that.
Well, where is Kat? Because like she was just there, but right. But anyway, thank you
well,
both.
leave it to all the people who love me. But
Look, and you got hers.
Not me being a pro.
Right. It was
Supposed
meant
to
to
do
be.
a
It was
little one
meant
of
to be.
these. She over here.
Right. But yes, thank you, ladies. We will chat next time.
Thank you. It was good talking to you
Bye.
guys.